Okay, so what we're going to look at in this video is we're going to check out the configuration, and we're going to have a look at the General tab. So if I go to System Configuration, you'll see over here we've got this area called General, and the first tab is the General tab. If I click on the General tab, what we see is 4 options here. Okay, and these are all expandable tabs. So if I click on them, they expand out and give us more detail. Okay, so I can select all of these and expand them all out. So let's look at these one at a time. Right, the first one of these is telling us what the default location of our purchases are for our store. Okay, so we've got country options here. So the first one is, what's the default country? So when someone comes to the checkout, this will be the default country that is already selected when they're choosing their shipping address. So in my case, I'm going to select United Kingdom. The next tab down is allowed countries. Okay, and these are countries that you are going to be happy to deliver to. Right, so if I scroll through, you can see that every single country by default is selected. Now, what we want to do is we probably, to start off with, particularly in the early days of our stores, we probably are not going to be looking to be posting to Albania and Algeria and Afghanistan and all the other countries in here that maybe it's going to be slightly difficult for us to get shipping costs for. So we might early on just want to restrict this to countries where we know we're quite happy to post to. So in our case, we're going to select the United Kingdom. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to select the United Kingdom. And, you know, I might also be happy that at this stage I'm shipping it to somewhere like, let's say, Ireland. So we'll go and find Ireland. Now to select the country, so there's Ireland there. So to select the country, on a PC, hold down the Control key. On a Mac, hold down the Command key and select the country. And that'll ensure that it won't unselect any other countries that we've selected. Okay, so there's our allowed countries. We've then got these options here where we've got postcode is optional for the following countries. Okay, so any country in here that is selected, the postcode is not a mandatory field in the shipping address. And also this next box down, it allows us to select the European countries, so countries that are within the EU. Now these are already pre-selected for you, and I am pretty sure that the ones that are selected are correct. The reason why there is a selector here is obviously there's an opportunity for countries to enter the EU and obviously to leave the EU, and so you can go in and change those if that ever happens. It'd probably be something that rarely happens. Okay, so once I've done that, I can save the configuration. Okay, so configuration comes back as saved. Right, let's close this first tab and let's have a look at the second tab, state options. Again, this is countries where a state is required. Okay, so when putting in the delivery address, you require a state in there. So again, you know, relevant countries you would select in there. Locale options. Locale dictates the language that your store is running in and the time zones and a couple of other fields that we can modify within here as well. So time zone wise, we're obviously in the UK, so we're running on GMT, London. Okay, the locale option, if I open this up, this dictates what language our store is running in. So in this case, it's currently selected as English United Kingdom. That's fine, but we can also select things like it's in French, Canadian French, English, French, and you can see there's all sorts of languages in here. Now, if you also have what's called a language pack installed on your Magento store that ties in with that particular country, so French France, for instance, then the wording on your website, the standard text, will all be translated into French. Or someone's done the translation for you, it will be displayed in French. It doesn't affect the products, doesn't affect categories and text that you've put in, but certainly standard text such as the add to cart and the checkout process will all be translated into that particular language. And we also get to select here what the first day of the week is. This is useful for reporting purposes and also what our actual weekend days are as well. The final tab, which currently on this store, because it's been installed from default, These are all blank. Now this is quite useful information here. This is where we can set our standard store information, such as the store name, telephone number. We can use this information throughout the site. So it may be put into transaction email, so we may refer to the store contact telephone number in a transaction email, or we may want to just refer it in content that we got throughout the site. Now by defining it here and then referencing that, it means that we're only managing that information from the one place. So whenever we change the telephone number and it's repeated across the store, we just have to change it in this one place. So I'm just going to put in some information in here. So we'll call it holiday shop. Okay, we'll give it a telephone number of 0208 123 4567. Okay, our hours of operation. So we could say Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Right. We've also got what country the store resides in. So this is useful from a origin point of view. So we'll select the United Kingdom, and if we have a valid VAT number, we can put that in there, and we can also validate it to make sure it is valid, and that validates it against the European VAT database. And we can also put an address in here, so 20. Okay, and so we can put an address in, and now that information we can use throughout the site, and we'll talk about that when we talk about variables at a later point.